morning and thank you for joining the Daily Record here at Bethpage Black. It's the day before the official start of the 45th Ryder Cup. I say Bethpage Black, it's actually Bethpage Grey, gloomy, grim. We've been going on a walk around the last couple of days and showing you some of the sights around about the place, but that'll not be happening this morning because it's absolutely pouring it down. The bad weather was forecast. Obviously, the official opening ceremony took place last night instead of tonight. It was brought forward because of the inclement weather that was predicted. Obviously, the singles games for the Junior Ryder Cup were obviously supposed to be here today as well, and they were kept at Nassau Golf Club, where the first couple of days have been held for Stephen Gallagher's team playing against the hosts, and the forecasts have been proved correct. It's miserable. It's proper Scottish winter weather today. Windy, pouring rain, so we're not really sure how things are going to go today. But we don't know how long this is going to hang around for. Is it going to be here for all day? Obviously, both teams had intended to have a practice, maybe just 9 holes, final tune-up. But I would doubt very much if they'll go out if it's like this. I think they'll just wait and see, maybe make a decision. Also, be threat of lightning as well. If there's any threat of thunder and lightning, there won't be any way that the players will be allowed onto the golf course. So that's a situation that we'll see develop through the course of the day. We'll keep you up to date with the Daily Record on that one. Listen, there was enough happening yesterday to fill a week. It was a pretty busy day. There was plenty of chat for a lot of the players, but obviously the opening ceremony. We spoke on Facebook Live yesterday about the prospect of, these opening ceremonies. People don't put a lot of store in them, and we said that sometimes things can be said and can maybe set the tone for the week. And if that's the case, Europe certainly took the lead in that score because Luke Donald absolutely foot perfect, while Keegan Bradley had a howler. Just to put you in the picture in case you didn't see it, Luke Donald was up first. He, as usual, really confident. He just exuded calm, exuded composure, but savage, absolutely savage, and making sure that the monetary situation and the fact the American team are being paid to play this week. I know most of them are going to give the money to charity, most if not all. The whole lot's going to go to charity, but it still was an opportunity that the Europeans weren't going to pass up. And the captain, I think what was the phrase he used? We've got something money can't buy. We also had the words earn, the words reward. They were just dropped in all over the place. It was classic stuff. Keegan Bradley then followed him onto the stage, opened up by giving his big story about how he fell in love with the Ryder Cup on his dad's shoulders in 1999 when the wonderful putt was held by Justin Rose, who was sitting behind him on the podium in the European team. Keegan Bradley, of course, meant to say Justin Leonard. He said Justin Rose instead, much to the amusement of some of the European team, the European fans in the crowd. Listen, it wasn't up there with Nick Faldo's Soren Stenson and not knowing what country people come from and getting the name of the course wrong. It wasn't quite to those levels, but it was a misstep. Listen, every tiny little thing will be bounced upon. Does it really matter when the balls are in the air tomorrow morning? No. Is Keegan Bradley getting a name wrong going to make Colin Morikawa miss a putt? No. But you just 2 years ago in Rome, and as we spoke about yesterday, when Luke Donald came out and spoke fluent Italian, Shane Lowry just said it inspired them. They were basically one up before they went on at the first tee. So that's certainly a good start for the Europeans. The captain set the tone. And the Americans making a little bit of a misstep. There's going to be loads of people talking today because of the change in the opening ceremony. The fact that was brought forward, so a curtailment meant the players had to practice earlier. It was cancelling a lot of the media stuff. So a lot of guys speaking today. Bob McIntyre will be speaking. Rory McIlroy will be speaking. Bryson DeChambeau will be speaking. I'm sure they might be speaking about each other. Well, they'll certainly be getting asked. Rory and Bryson. That one's been brewing through the week here in America. A few quotes that have been brought up from earlier in the summer, and how Rory saying that Bryson only gets attention whenever he talks about him and Scotty Scheffler and things like that. So yeah, there's a wee bit going on there. Listen, it would be good to see the pairings today because obviously the announcement is going to be made 9 o'clock UK time tonight on who's going out in that first morning. It's always a big moment in the Ryder Cup. We find out what the first 4 games are for tomorrow morning's foursomes. We find out all these foursomes. You're always looking for clues, you're always hunting for clues. That's just the nature of what we do in this job. You try to find out, get some whispers, see if you can hear what's happening. European camp obviously very close, they don't give much away, but you can often tell by what the captain does. In Rome 2 years ago, there was a lot of the parents that had played through the practice rounds played in tournaments leading up to it, like the BMW at Wentworth. Gave you an idea, like McIlroy, Bob McIntyre and Justin Rose played together, that type of thing. Hovland and O'Bell, they played together, so you had a fair idea that they were going to play together when they got to Rome. We've just been trying to pick up clues this week. I suppose the biggest one for people in Scotland would be Bob McIntyre. The twice he's been out this week, he's been out with Victor Hovland both days, which is just lighting a little bit of a bulb above people's heads that maybe Luke Donald sees those two as a foursomes pairing for Friday morning. Bob, as we know, just played exclusively with Justin Rose through the first 2 days in Rome in his 2 sessions, but the captain has spoken about his progression as a golfer and the fact he's now a top 10 in the world player. He's a different animal now. And whereas he was only looked upon for floor balls, really in Rome, this is different. He can be trusted for the foursomes now. He's a senior member of the team now, so I think that there is interest there that he might play with Victor Hovland. We'll find that out later on. Hovland, of course, we talked about Hovland and Ludwig Robert. Ludwig Robert's played a lot with Matt Fitzpatrick through the practice. They played together at Wentworth as well, so that's a potential pairing. Rory McIlroy, Tommy Fleetwood, of course you've got the live pairing of John Ram and Tyrrell Hatton. That looks pretty solid. They played together in live golf as well for Legion 13, so you'd be pretty surprised if that was split. But it'd be interesting to see how often John Ram plays over this Ryder Cup, because you can trust him. He won the individual title on live this season for his consistency through the year, but he didn't actually win an event. So maybe questions about, is John Ram the same power player at the same standard that he was in Rome 2 years ago? We'll find out. He certainly played well enough at Wentworth, so I grew into that tournament as it went on. A really strong finish to give an indication that he was going to be at the John Ram levels that we would expect. And there's so many options for Luke Donald. Luke Donald's this European team all summer has really delivered. They've all performed at various stages at high levels, and it's just a case of seeing if they can transfer that over. I mean, one of the pairings from Rome that was successful, I suppose you would have maybe a slight concern about, Shane Lowry and Seb Straka. Seb's obviously not played for a while because his good lady was having a child, so he missed Wentworth. He joined up with the practice trip, but he's looked fine in practice. Shane Lowry's played well without hitting real high Shane Lowry standards. A few chances to win slipped away earlier in the season, and then the longer the season went on, he didn't really contend as much as I'm sure Luke Donald would have fought for. But the thing about Shane Lowry is, a bit like Rory McIlroy, this team thing just brings it. The Ryder Cup just seems to bring something out. I mean, we saw with Lowry and Straka and Rome that first Friday morning, how dynamic they could be. Matt Fitzpatrick's really good in practice. That's another one that's noteworthy. I'm sure Matt would be the first man to tell you that his Ryder Cup record's not what he would like it to be. A couple of difficult ones to start out with. But, he got that first victory when he ran riot Friday afternoon in Rome, playing alongside Rory McIlroy. So you would think that he's coming into this in his form. I mean, I think by anyone's admission, if you go to April or May, Matt Fitzpatrick was not in this team. June, Matt Fitzpatrick was not in this team. And the way he's come through the last sort of 2 or 3 months, when he really had to step up to get himself that pick, he's played brilliantly. So there's probably few in the European team that are in better form than him. Tommy Fleetwood's won the FedEx, Justin Rose has won the Tour Championship bids. So yeah, plenty of form going in. The Americans, well, I don't think anybody's really sure what to expect. I mean, of course they're going to have this huge backing from the crowd, but the more this week goes on, the more you sort of get the feeling that maybe it's just talk, maybe it's just people put two together with things, but there's this vibe that the New York crowd, being what it is, yes, they'll back their own, but if Europe getting top of them early, or the Americans struggle with all the backdrop and the American team be paid and all that stuff, that the New York crowd will start to get on the case of the American players. Justin Thomas was the first to mention it. I think Colin Morikawa might have mentioned it. Cameron Young, who comes from this area, he mentioned it, that they won't be trying to tell us if we're not performing. So I think it would be wrong to think that it's Europe that are going to be totally under pressure here. If Europe can go off to a fast start on Friday morning and put a lot of blue in that ball, might ask some serious questions of the American players. Let's see how they can handle the heat. Of course, Friday morning, the big thing that I guess everybody's not sure what to expect is the appearance of President Donald Trump. We got a message out from the Ryder Cup media team yesterday about the fact the president was intending to be here. He said all along that he was going to be here, and sure enough, there was then a bit of talk that he might delay his appearance until after the opening tee shots, just to let people get in the door, because obviously the additional security detail and such like that is going to make it a much slower process for people to get in. But no, it appears he's decided he wants to be here for the first shots, and there's a list of as long as your arm of things that are not allowed to be brought into the golf course, including large umbrellas, which is quite amusing given the fact it's absolutely tanking down. So you're going to tell people who paid £500-600 for a ticket and they can't bring an umbrella in to keep themselves dry because the president's security detail doesn't want it. Again, I don't think that's a particularly good look, but there you go. The American team will obviously be, again, they'll probably be inspired by seeing that. You can imagine Bryson DeChambeau running around high-fiving the president. He's big friends with him, isn't he? So, and there's a lot of talk about whether Bryson DeChambeau will get America off and running, whether he'll have the first tee shot. We obviously reported in the record on Monday that when America played their first 18-hole practice round here, DeChambeau was the first man out in the first group. The drivable par 4, got the big dog out, took the ball right over the trees and went to try and drive the par 4. He didn't make it, but the intention was there. And then on the day 2 practice, I think the tee was moving forward just a little bit, slightly drier, better conditions, and Justin Thomas and Scotty Scheffler drove the green on the first. So that's the kind of start that was put in place at Whistling Straits, a drivable par 4, which can get the crowd whipped up early. So imagine Bryson DeChambeau swinging putters and all sorts coming off the first tee and whipping the place up and going crazy with the president behind him. So yeah, it's all going to be fun and games. But as for today, well, we can only hope that it dries up a bit. We'll obviously be keeping our ear to the ground for Stephen Gallagher's junior team. It was a good, sensational performance by them in Rome to win by 11 points. Stephen came back here to New York, same as Luke Donald, trying to go back to back and win in America. 10-8 down after the second day. Like I said, it was supposed to be here for the singles and get a chance to play in front of 40,000-50,000, but well, one, whether 40,000-50,000 are going to turn up today due to this weather, I'm not sure, and two, they're going to stay in that South Golf Course anyway, which is just along the road, and they're going to play the final day there just to make sure it gets concluded without any issues. So we'll keep you up to date with the Daily Record as we go through the day, just in what people are saying. Also what happens with the practice situation. Like I say, it would be nice to just get another look at the teams out playing, just to get a little idea on pairings, because of course the American pairings is something that we're interested in as well. I think we've got a fair idea, like Scotty Scheffler, for example, is going to play with Russell Henley, played with him at the President's Cup. He's also been paired along with JJ Swan. Keegan Bradley's done some. Keegan Bradley has copied Luke Donald a lot. Keegan Bradley and Luke Donald are friends. They have been for many years. Close friends. They live close to each other. Luke Donald's captaincy in Rome was a masterclass. Keegan Bradley has unashamedly taken sections of it. Even with vice captains, he's tried to get a good mix of guys who are peers with the players just now. It's not just the old guard. He's brought in younger guys. Gary Woodland, who plays all the time with the boys just now in the PGA Tour. You've got Kevin Kisner, who's quite close to a lot of them, mixed in with your Jim Furyk's for experience. That's kind of what Luke Donald has done. You know, you've got the Jose Maria Olazabal experience angle, and then you've got the likes of Alec Noren in there, and the guys who are in a bit playing just now. So he's kind of copied that system. He's also copied the system of guys playing together and practicing together. America didn't prepare properly 2 years ago. They didn't play for a month before they headed to Rome. Keegan Bradley fixed that, the same as what Luke Donald does at Wentworth. He made sure they went to the Pro Golf Championship in Napa last week to make sure they got the competitive reps in. Again, like Luke Donald, putting together pairings, putting together 3 balls that have a distinct feel of the fact that they're going to be here on the first 2 days at Bethpage. Scheffler and Swan, just go back to where we started there. Scheffler and Henley played together in the President's Cup. They could probably be a foursome. Scheffler and JJ Swan, the US Open champion, they might be a 4-ball. Who does Bryson DeChambeau play with? That's a question that everyone's been asking. The 2 most popular choices among the American writers that we've spoken to appear to be Cam Young, because of the style, but actually both of them are based on the style of golf ball if he's going to play foursomes, because Cam Young and Ben Griffin are the 2 who play the most closest type of ball to what Bryson DeChambeau does. So now he's likely to end up with one of them. Probably see Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay again together. Patrick Cantlay's going to be good fun, obviously. He's got the hat on this week. He's getting his money this week, so he's got his hat on. He'll play with He'll play with Shoffley at some point, I'm sure. And he may also play with Sam Butts, who's got Braden Smith as well. So, again, it would be nice to see the Americans out on the golf course today just to see if we could get some final clues. But I say everything's on hold in a minute. Compared to this time yesterday, when the place was absolutely rammed, there's hardly anybody here because, as I say, it's still pouring down. So we're away to go and speak to the European players. There's about 8 European players speaking, including, as I say, Robert McIntyre, Rory McIlroy, Shane Lowry, Victor Hovland's first time. So we've got a raft of guys in, and then we've got half a dozen American players in as well. So we'll keep you up to date through the day on Record Sport and what's happening. Obviously, as I said, 9 o'clock tonight, we've got the official pairings. Lots going on before then, so stay in touch with us and we'll bring it all to you from soggy Dampton Grey